Good evening, world. Good noon and good morning to all the beautiful and pious souls who are watching us live today on Global Talk Show by Business Bar Academy, Netherlands. And today is the day when I am sure you are going to recharge after watching this incredible journey of Tony, and he is our eminent personality, a great personality, I must say, and I am honored and privileged to host him today. Well, before I take this lovely journey on, let me apprise you about Tony. What is he doing? What he's working? And people must be asking what it is all about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he is a business consultant, past Toastmasters district governor, current executive of the Royal Canadian Legion. And most important, he is a great, humble person. Well, let's take our journey on. And Tony, already I have introduced you, but still, people would love to know your incredible journey and they want to get inspired.
Thank you, Dr. Supriya. I am thrilled with this honor, and I welcome this great opportunity. Well, as you can see, I'm an older person. I am 67 years old. I don't think I'm an older person, but age is age. As you mentioned, I am a business consultant, and I have been for a long time. And I wish I actually started to be a business consultant earlier, because this way I have more control of my life. But you know, some things can only happen at certain times of your life when you're ready. Raising family and doing other things is the priority. I'm a university graduate. However, I'm still in university. I just finished my last law exam. I wrote it last Wednesday. I am trying to earn my law degree. I have written 20 exams. So I wrote my 20th last Wednesday. And that's over 8 years of working and studying. As you mentioned, I'm a member of the Royal Canadian Legion. And in what that means in Canada, it's a volunteer organization of over 300,000 people, appointed by Parliament almost 100 years ago. And as volunteers, what we do is we try to remember the sacrifices of the young boys and girls, the young men and women who suffered in war. And war is a terrible thing. We don't try to talk about war. We talk about the young, there were boys and girls when they went to war, really, 18, 19 years old. And we try to remember what they did and why they did it. I've also been a volunteer workshop convener for the Arthritis Society of Canada, trying to help people who are struck with the disease, the hidden disease of arthritis, which is common across the world. You know, there's over 100 different diseases within arthritis, and it's very difficult to treat. And that was, a remarkable journey in itself. And as you mentioned, I've been a Toastmaster. I am a Toastmaster. I've been a past district governor. Tremendous experience of being in Toastmasters. Learning how to communicate better, how to help others communicate better. I have 3 children. They're adults. And one of my children was born with a disability. And that's been part of, a challenge. But Dr. Supriya, never a regret in life. I love all my 3 children as are equal. It doesn't matter what is normal, what is disabled. To me, it never mattered. They were my children. And, I've been a hockey player. and I recently retired as captain of my hockey team, which was unique because we were the only team in the league that had men and women. And it was, we were a very good hockey team, you know, and again, no excuses, no reasons. You know, when you go on the field, whether it's a soccer pitch or a football field or ice, you know, for hockey, we're equal. We're equal, and we have to earn our place. You know, so you know, men, women, doesn't matter. You know, as long as everybody, you know, they have an equal chance. And that's just what lately. More, if you talk to me next year, there'll be more.
That's an incredible thing, Tony, you have told about your life journey. And the most important thing I really loved about your hockey. And we will be talking in next other questions, but it's really great to hear. And one thing I would love to say that never regret in your life. That's what we all should follow. And that makes us very light, very cool, and great in our life. So that's really, really great to hear your incredible journey. And I'm
Thank you.
sure all the viewers who are watching us, they must be getting lot and lot of motivation and inspiration, and they are going to implement the same in their life. Wow, it's wonderful. Tony, in everybody's life, like it's you or me, there is no one in this world who had not faced any challenges. So, in your life, what were those, yeah, what are those challenges which you faced or which you are facing, and how you are overcoming those challenges? We would love to hear those things.
Dr. Supriya, you may not have detected that I am a stutterer. I used to be, especially as a child, a very bad stutterer. And you know, children can be accidentally cruel. And as a stutterer, some of the children in school would laugh at me and mock me, you know, and the stuttering would get worse and worse. And of course, you can imagine it would affect any child's confidence to always be mocked. And for many, many years, I struggled. I could not ever remove the stuttering. I realized one day, but I can deal with it, and maybe, just maybe, I could turn it to my benefit. I believe I have. And during Toastmasters, you know, in 15 years, I got to practice a lot on how to take my level of stuttering, which at one time was severe, and how could I turn it around? I believe I came up with an answer. Simplify. Keep things simple. Speak simple words. Think simple words. Short sentences. Get to the point. Practice, practice, and practice. I'm not sure what stage of my life I came to that conclusion. I believe it was in, you know, in university, where I, you know, was trying to, you know, actually, you know, ask girls out for dates, you know, and you know, and try not to have them laugh at me, you know. And I simplified in university, and I found, Dr. Supriya, that after a few years, because you know, solutions don't necessarily happen overnight, but they need effort. And after a few years of effort, and after I left university, I found that I was actually thinking simpler. working things out so I could communicate in a simple way, but I had to communicate a message that was simple. And over the years, I worked at it. And of course, as I mentioned before in Toastmasters, I got to practice it a lot. So personally, overcoming stuttering was a personal challenge. So now there's a family challenge. I've mentioned my youngest child, who's now an adult, James. He's 33 years old. Wonderful guy. When he was first born, he was premature by 6 weeks. And of course, had Down syndrome. So he's a person with Down syndrome, not a Down syndrome person, a person with Down syndrome, or it could be a person with arthritis. It could be a person with old age. We all have something. Okay? James had Down syndrome. Big deal. But he was very weak. So for 18 months, I had to tube feed. So James would have a tube go through his nose into his stomach, and the end of the tube would be taped to his forehead. For 18 months, sometimes as many as 6 times a night, I would tube feed a little liquid into James. And then I would sleep on the floor beside his crib in case he would wake up and have a problem. So in those 18 months, I destroyed my sleep patterns. I was exhausted going to work. I had troubles keeping awake. But it was for my son, my child. I was motivated. And so it's a family challenge. And professionally, I always wanted to control my own destiny. Not, I've had in my career my share of very bad bosses, who were, bullies and mean. And I know that's a common thing, And I dreamed for the day that I would just be responsible to myself. And that happened when I became a business consultant almost 20 years ago. I was hungry. I was at times, worried, but I made it. And so that was a professional challenge.
Tony, I am really, really, overwhelmed and surprised to listen your challenges. And it was really, so touching being a dad, being a father, what sacrifices you made for your son. It's really, really incredible and so touching to heart. Really, getting a great father. I think your son is really, really lucky to get such a great father who has sacrificed so much thing in the life, because it was not at all easy to dedicate your sleep and then you go for the work, because it's really, really hard. But a great father will always find the way to cherish his son. That's what you had proved, Tony. That's great. And in the professional work front, it was when you said about how the people used to bully you, your bosses. So that's the challenge. But I tell you one thing: your all challenges made you a rock star, which I can feel now on this platform. You know, people are there to break you, shake you, which I always say, rate you, hate you, but it's you who always make you. And you have challenged your destiny very, very well in a perfect manner. So I hats off to you for
Thank
taking
you.
out your life, and you are the king, which I can feel now. That's great. And you're inspiring the world today. Awesome.
Thank you.
Tony, this journey which we are taking on, it's really, really great. And I'm so, so excited for the session to move on. Well, now my inquisitiveness I am feeling about your work, which you do. So tell me something about your work, which you usually carry on.
Yes, I'm as a business consultant, uh, I get involved in a lot of exciting things, Dr. Supriya, and I get paid for it. I only submit my invoice if my project is successful. There are some projects I do where if I'm not successful, I do not submit my invoice. And my clients would say, no, 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 you worked hard. It's not your fault, Tony. No, submit your invoice. And I would say to them, well, I pick my projects. And if I pick that project thinking I could be successful and I'm not successful, I have to pay for that lesson as well. Now, Dr. Supriya, I have found that kind of a relationship with the client has established an integrity so that when my projects are successful, I then give my invoice. They always pay, and they always pay on time because they're encouraged by my participation. Last November, for example, I helped reorganize 8 affiliated companies into one business plan because all 8 companies were like balls in the air. They had the same ownership, they did different things, but they spoke differently, they thought differently, they had different missions. My project was to get the managers together to come up with a common vision, common language that we could talk about, and importantly, hold those managers accountable to the owner because I'm working for the owner. That project was mostly successful. Although it sounds mean, one of the highlights of that project was we discovered great inefficiencies. That meant that we had to make changes in personnel, including some of the managers. But it's business, and business, has definitions of success. Also, I lately been for many years involved in human resources and dealing with difficulties at work, including mean managers, and having to deal with them on how they treated their employees. So from my experiences in the past as a employee who, thought he suffered from, bullies as managers, now I had an opportunity to try to correct the situation. And of course, the best thing is try to convert the manager over to a different attitude. Well, again, if that didn't work, changes had to be made. And some of my proudest moments, Dr. Supriya, is having to sit down with an employee who was in trouble and to see if I could make a difference in the employee's work habits and life. And I remember one example of a young man who made some terrible mistakes that were dangerous to himself and to others around him. It had to deal with hazardous chemicals, okay, very dangerous. In Toastmasters, we're taught to use a sandwich technique when evaluating people. It's good characteristics, what happened that was bad, and another good characteristic to, try to motivate the person. And this young man, as I mentioned, he really, really screwed up. He came in for, we had a face-to-face meeting. I said to him, Jared, that's his name, you excellent employee. And people respect you, but of course I was authentic. I was not just whitewashing. However, you did this thing that was wrong. And he knew it, and we talked about the impact and what could have been done better, which is critical. What could have been done better? And then I had to suspend him for a week without pay. But I said, Jared, if you're not angry at me, if you're not angry at the company, if you come back after your suspension, clean slate. We move on. We learn how to improve. We learn from lessons. Let's just think it's not a mistake. It's a lesson learned. And he looked at me. Jared, he looked at me. He paused and he looked at me. And he nodded his head like this. And he said, "You're right. You've done this right," he said to me. And it gave me goosebumps, Dr. Supriya. And he came back better than ever. And he was good in the first place. I've had a few like that, Dr. Supriya. You know, not all of them, not the majority, but enough so that I can make an impact, a positive impact. And I do, I help with sales training and many other things. So it was such an opportunity at my age, of course, starting, you know, a number of years ago, to take what I have learned, what I've experienced, and actually share it. And again, as I said at the beginning, I get paid. So it's not just for the money, but it helps. But it's mainly to help improve my small part of the world.
That's really wonderful. And Tony, I must say that when your passion is being monetized, that feeling is really great. And that it's my experience too. So I
Yeah.
can understand because when you are getting paid, what you are doing, and that's the thing which really motivates us also. Even for the speeches which I do, if I get in free, fine, learning. But when I'm being paid, wow, motivated, and I will be elevated to take on. But after listening to your one story, how you motivated one guy is really, really great. And I will advise and request all the live viewers, if you want to make any great changes or transformation in your lives, please contact Tony for sales training or whatever, because he was a pastor, strict Toastmaster also. Or if you want to communicate well in your life and get your all dreams comes true, do contact Tony and transform your life. So he is on LinkedIn, he is on Facebook. You can find him anywhere and make your life cherish. Well, yes, Tony. Well, Tony, it's really great journey, and I am enjoying every bit, every moment, and I am super energized with your journey, having a lot of impact in my life too. Your
Yes.
mission, I would love to know what actually you have thought and what actually is going on in your thought process.
My mission, you know, I briefly mentioned is just, you know, is to simply try to improve my small part of the world and those people within my small part of the world, which could be family, could be friends. You know, I like to just briefly mention about, you know, hockey. Now, ice hockey. Now, it's a
Yes,
sport. It could
that
be any
was
sport.
missing word, and I would love to hear about hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It you know, when I talk about ice hockey, I could be talking about any team sport. It could be baseball, football, soccer. Of course, we, you know, in North America call it soccer, you call it football. It is football. You know where it is? I mean, you kick the ball with your foot. I don't know why we call our American version of football. Anyway, but my point is ice hockey or anything, team sport. What I'm saying applies. I believed in encompassing, enclosing everyone. And somehow, you know, it fell upon me that I was the captain of the team, the oldest player by far, the slowest player, you know, because, you know, old. One day, the new season started, and there's some new players on my team. And we're in a room, we're putting on our hockey equipment, and there's a lot of hockey. It takes a long time. And in that time, we talk, and I try to get people to talk. The door opened, and it was a woman dressed up, wearing in her hockey outfit, wearing a white jersey sweater. Our jerseys were orange. So I thought she came to the wrong room, but she didn't. She came to the room looking to join a team because the white jersey she put on, for the white team, they did not have enough players. Typically, a hockey team has 16 hockey players, 15 skaters, one goaltender who takes the beating with the pucks. She was supposed to be on the white team, and they did not have enough players, but they lied. When they looked at her and saw she was a woman, they lied to her. They said, we have enough players. That's a great injustice. Not even giving a person an opportunity because of gender. It doesn't matter. We always fight this, right? Throughout the world, whether it's gender, age, race, disability, religion, people do things like that to others. And we're always fighting that. Now, it just so happened in my room, we had too many players. Instead of having 16, we had 20 already. So I was going to have to make some reductions anyway and transfer players. So I could have said, and some people might have said I should have said, but I could have said, I'm sorry, we have too many players. I did not. I said, you are welcome. I said to her, you are welcome. I end up, moving other players to different teams. And some of those players did not forgive me. I had to make difficult choices. But we have souls. I believe that. I believe we all have, each one of us, our heart beats, we have souls. And my soul screamed immediately that I had to do the right thing. She was welcomed onto the team. And she was not a very good player, but she improved. And Dr. Supriya, I want to tell you something about this more. A few years later, she fell in love with a person, a guy on our team, and they got married. And when they got married, after their beautiful ceremony, they put on their hockey jerseys. So they met.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Oh, I got goosebumps when I think of this. Right. So I think, you listen to your soul. You do what you think is right, no matter what the next person might say. And that's a challenge, right? To do that, to actually do what we feel is right when other people don't think it's right or they criticize us. And then let fate take care of itself. And I value this woman's friendship. And Dr. Supriya, one year, our team traveled to a different city for a weekend hockey tournament. We had 4 women on our team. Now I know I'm just mentioning this. Only team in the tournament to have women, and we won, Dr. Supriya. We won, and we deserved. And sometimes all 4 of these women hockey players were on the ice at the same time, just sticking it to the other team. And it shocked the other teams. And one team in particular came to me later and just praised us for our encompassing, our enclosure, inclusion, whatever. Let the soul speak. Improve our own little world, our own little universe with the goodness in our soul. That's what I believe. So hockey gave me many opportunities to do that, Dr. Supriya. I mean, I hated chasing the hockey puck up and down and up and down the ice. I was so tired. 25-year-olds would call me sir, you know, because, you know, but but it's the people part of teamwork,
Very true.
of Dr. Supriya, family, friends, other people within our own small little world.
That's true, Tony. And Tony, I really liked the story which you told me about this woman. Because of gender discrimination, and later on, what happened to her with her life. I really enjoyed this great story. And one thing I really loved about yours, listen to your heart, no matter what the world says, because everybody is having a great soul. And if we are listening to that soul, we are on the right track, we are on the right path, and that will eventually lead everyone to the right goal which we have set. So I respect you for this, and I will request all my viewers, listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and you will never ever be betrayed in your life. In fact, you will achieve what you want in your life. So, Tony, it's a great message which you have delivered through your answer today. And I really respect you for this. And I'm going to follow this. Respect your soul, listen to your soul, and do all your work with a great zeal and zest. So, great answer.
Thank you.
Well, Tony, we talked about your journey, your challenges, which are really, opportunistic challenges which you told about, and your mission. My next question, you cannot say it's a question. My audience are waiting for your lovely message today, and they want to hear a great message from a great person like you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Supriya. My message comes from me. I admire a lot of people in the world. I've admired Gandhi, Aristotle, Confucius, Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela. But I am not them. I can never be them. But I can listen, I can read, I can learn. And when it goes through my eyes and ears, and I filter it in my brain, I have to have my own mission. And one thing is, there's a number of points. I mentioned earlier, no regrets. But Dr. Supriya, you think in your past, of the mistakes you think you've made, right? And for years, I used to think of my mistakes. And at one time in life, it occurred to me, what if I thought differently? Sure, I've made mistakes. Oh, lots of mistakes. But what if I start thinking differently? What if I think of those incidents as, what could I have done better at the time, under those conditions? And under those conditions, because I'm a different person today than I was 50 years ago when I was a kid. But back then, what could I have done better? And after a while thinking that way, it's like a cleansing. It's like the bad blood has just exited my body. And this new, fresh blood. Yeah, I made mistakes, but you know what? They're not mistakes. If I could go back in time, this is what I would do better. So do it now. So if I make a mistake today, Dr. Supriya, what's mistake, right? The way I treat it is, okay, no. What should I have done better? And what will I do better? And after a long time of incorporating that as a discipline, I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to admit their mistakes. As long as they're not deadly or, harmful, they're just normal, characteristical mistakes. I find that I forgive myself a lot quicker. I find I don't blame myself as long as I've learned something. And Dr. Supriya, That has opened doors for me. I have done tremendous, in my opinion, challenges in the business world, standing in front of a judge who's angry at me, pleading a case, as a litigant, as a self-litigant, not afraid, losing sometimes, but winning, and winning sometimes, but always learning. And same thing, with hockey, as I mentioned, and with the Royal Canadian Legion, and other things. And to follow, and that allows me to follow more parallel paths. I can do stuff with the Royal Canadian Legion, with the Arthritis Society, which I've retired. I've retired from hockey, Toastmasters, business, family. At one time, not too long ago, I was doing all those parallel paths at the same time because I was not afraid. And that I was learning from each parallel path to build the entire mission. So I would say, to answer your question, treat yourself better with fairness. Consider mistakes to be lessons learned for the future. So that mistakes is not your enemy, but in a different way, part of your growth. Oh, it is so relaxing, much more. Oh, of course, there's always tension. I experience some tension, of course. I'm a human being, flesh and blood. And Dr. Sabria, working with a team, hockey team, families, your team, friends, laugh and learn. Humor, laugh, humor. Don't take ourselves too serious. Again, don't beat ourselves up. On the other hand, if things are successful, really successful, don't get it into your head that you're better than anyone else. Oh, big, that would be a lesson learned. And of course, I've learned those lessons too. So in other words, Dr. Supriya, improve yourself, not disapprove yourself. Enjoy life every day. That's my mission.
And Tony, when you were telling your message to my audience, I just opened my mind and I was keep noting your all messages, because your all messages are golden nuggets, golden wisdom for me, and I'm going to follow it for sure with my audience. Enjoy your life. Don't regret. Learn from your mistakes and keep on correcting yourself, the better version of yourself. So once again, heartfelt thanks to you, Tony, for coming to our show, for cherishing this evening and introducing your life journey with us. Inspirational journey. That's really a great motto of this global talk show. And you have impacted everybody's life, including me too, and motivated us to get recharged and move on in our life. So once again, thank you so much.
Dr. Supriya, I admire what you do.
Thank you so much.
You are trying to bring the best in people across the world. And I hope to say I may be a kindred spirit. I hope to say.
Great.
And
yes.
I thank you for what you are doing, Dr. Supriya.
That's right. And of course, how can I forget my lovely and lively audience who are watching this show globally live. And I'm sure after watching this inspirational global talk show with Tony, you are going to transform your life and you are going to attain success. And remember Tony's words: don't regret, be happy, enjoy every moment of your life. Then only you will be called as great souls. Thank you so much. Bye bye from India.